All right. Super excited to be here. LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Instagram for another week of the Resilient and Joyful Leader. I'm Misha Safran. The topic today is belonging from within, the role of healthy boundaries in thriving workplaces. And I will be moderating the conversation with two questions given to each panelist, Crystal Whiteaker, Jayme Roderick, and Rachel Michelle. Delighted to have them here. They're friends of mine, they're colleagues of mine, and I've learned a lot from them each individually. We've never collectively been in the same space until today, so I'm delighted. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And first, I will ask my panelists to introduce themselves, giving your name, your business name, and why are you excited about today's topic? And maybe we'll start alphabetical from the end. I will go to Rachel, and now I have to figure out how to make you larger. So that sounded funny. I'm going to try to spotlight you. So let's see how we do this. All right.
No worries.
So.
Rachel Michelle here, excited about talking about boundaries. It's so important, and it's clearly an opportunity for one to communicate than anything. That's what's exciting about it. I'm Rachel Michelle, once again, with Hub International. I've been in HR and looking forward to getting to know you better.
Thank you, Rachel. So happy you're here. All right, and we'll go to Jayme. I can do this.
You can do this. Misha, thank you for having me and doing this. My name is Jayme Roderick. I am the creator and CEO, C-suite for all of Jayme Roderick Coaching and my new endeavor. And I'm excited to be here because I find boundaries keep us honest. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love what both of you have said. That's so wonderful. And let me move that topic out of the way so y'all can see Crystal. And let me get Crystal's QR code. If you are watching this on the replay or live and you didn't notice, in one of the corners, I don't know if it's your right or your left, but in one of the corners is a QR code where you can reach out and connect with my panelists. They are wonderful people. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that. And Crystal, come on in.
Hi, Misha. Thanks for having me back. My name is Crystal Whiteaker, pronouns she, her, and I'm the founder of Crystal Lily Creative. It's an inclusive leadership and brand development coaching and consulting agency. And I'm excited about today's topic. I really like what was just said about boundaries keeping you honest. I personally love this topic because it's something that I find we have to actively, continuously practice. And they do keep us honest. I'm just gonna kind of ride that wave and piggyback on that because it really resonates.
Love that. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm super excited. So Misha Safran, my company is Center for Empathy and Emotional Intelligence, and I'm excited about this topic because I learned later in life that boundaries are not meant to punish. They're not created to punish people. They're created to teach people how to be with us and to teach people how to be with each other. So this topic really resonates for me. And I want to say that this topic, especially the belonging from within, was inspired by Crystal because I said, I really want you to be on my panel. What topics are you passionate about? And I don't know if you remember this, but you literally said the words belonging from within. And then I went and did some research. I'm like, okay, what would that look like? And I thought, okay, healthy boundaries and thriving workplaces. Let's go there. So thank you, Crystal, for that inspiration. And I do believe, that when it comes to individually, belonging from within is something we have to do the work, right? And then when it's in a workplace, it's the collective people that have to do the work, right? That belonging from the inside of the organization will then actually, oh gosh, we have so many different terms: trigger, bullet, and bleed. I was gonna say that bleed out into, and I want to find different terms because they just feel so violent. But in an organization, we, as long as we are doing the work on the inside, it shows up. The community sees it. Our reputation is more solid. So thank you all for being here. I'm so glad that you have Ripple. That's the word. Who put that in my private chat? I love it. Thank you, Crystal. Yes, I'm gonna create like a note on my left-hand side here that has all the substitutes, because instead of triggered, I say activated. Instead of bullet mark, I say points, but I don't even know if points works for me. And now ripple, I think I prefer that. All right, for those of you watching or on the replay, please feel free to type your questions or comments in the chat on whatever channel you're watching. We may not get to you right now, but we will definitely look afterwards, okay? And if I see you've tagged or you want to address either Crystal or Jayme or Rachel, I'll try to tag them in case you can't. But we will try to follow up with whatever you post regarding our talk today, and look forward to engaging with you. So the first question is, and I'll put it on the screen, how can leaders model and encourage healthy boundaries without being seen as less committed or less available? Think about boundaries. People say, I can only talk to you during this amount of time. Well, does that make them seem like they're less committed or less available? Or are they taking care of themselves by saying, I'd like to talk to you, and this is the window that I have? So I'm going to start on the second person, and we'll rotate around. So Jayme, I'm going to bring you in first. And then just for our listeners, I did put the question in the chat for the panelists. And while Jayme is speaking, I'll put the question in the chat for you all, so I can remove it from here. So let me pull up Jayme. Still working on the tech here.
Well, I don't need to be spotlit to talk, so I can go ahead and say, yeah, I want to back up to the, boundaries keep us honest. And I love the title is belonging from within. I think nothing happens that if we're not in touch with ourselves. And I find this is a two-way setup, right? Is that true belonging at work grows when individuals feel safe to honor their own needs while they contribute to the team. And that actually starts with leadership. Leadership needs to be accountable, understanding, honest with themselves about what they know and what they don't know. And so healthy boundaries are essential for fostering trust, preventing burnout, from creating workspaces where people can show up authentically. And this conversation really is exciting to explore what other people have to say about belonging at work. It goes hand in hand with building environments where everybody can thrive.
And Jayme, what would be a sample of a way a leader could model that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just what you demonstrated was, are you available? Are you not available? Do you have time? Do you not have time? Like that there's transparency, and that there's communication, and that there's a way that we get to see leadership on everybody gets to show up and show who they are all the time, that we don't have to wonder how people are communicating, that they've made that clear, whether that made that clear at orientation or at a company-wide meeting, that they've created the space of transparency. And so you already know, I can actually, my last day at Pixar, the president walked up to me and he shook my hand and he thanked me for all my work. I was there for 20 years. And I kind of had this thought, like, you're not even going to remember me. And he walked right up and that was beautiful, because I knew him and he knew me, and that's the kind of leader that I want to be, that I am. So I hope that is a helpful example, is just showing up as you.
Yeah. And what a great reminder that, people at the top can come and say thank you, and I mean, how long did that really take? Just a few seconds, right? So blocking that out on your calendar as an executive or a top-notch CEO, right? You can put on your calendar, I have this list of people retiring. This is what's happening. How long would it actually take me either to go and shake their hand or to say, this is, thank you for having been here.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. I mean, acknowledgement is a huge part of that. And we just don't, I find we don't get acknowledgement. And that's a big part of boundaries, is just seeing who people are.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Jayme. I'm going to bring Crystal in now, and I'm starting to learn how to navigate. But Crystal, go for it. You've got the question.
Make sure I'm unmuted here. Misha, I recall our conversation about belonging from within, because this is something that I work with my own clients on, where they're coming to me and they're, really wanting to create environments where people can feel welcome and safe and seen and heard and all of those things, and wanting to create that sense of belonging and honor people's boundaries. But what I often find is that folks, more often than not, aren't entirely sure what they need to feel a sense of belonging from within. So it's really building that muscle, tuning into self, and kind of checking in. What is my actual capacity? What is on my plate? What are the deadlines that I'm looking at? And being really discerning about the things that you're taking on and committing to, and communicating that both in all directions, with your team, with yourself, with your family at home, right? And then when there are instances where you are invited to do something or take on an extra task, being realistic about what you can actually do and communicating where you're at, being able to ask for support when you need it, and being met with compassion, and demonstrating all of those things in all directions, I think helps to open the pathways for other people to really notice, okay, this person is clearly very aware of what they have going on, what their commitments are, and they're also honoring themselves. And when people see that modeled, it does create permission for other folks to start to do the same. Maybe it even creates curiosity of, hey, how do you manage all of this? How do you navigate it? And it opens up dialogue and conversation around that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have another piece to ask you around that. Yes, we can't really establish healthy boundaries unless we get a better idea of who we are, what we need, and what we don't need, right? So what would be a practical, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but this is part of your work, but it doesn't mean you have to have the answer right away. So pause and breathe if you need to. So what would a strategic thing or activity be for someone that might need to check in with themselves around their work boundaries that you could potentially think of?
So when I'm coaching with clients around stuff like this, one of the things that we do early on is examine what their self-connection practices are, because it's different for everybody. Some people thrive in things like yoga and meditation. Other people find that they are able to clear their head and, get their thoughts in line when they go for a run. I'm not one of those people.
I don't run, so there you go.
I don't run either. But really discerning what are the things that make you feel the most connected to yourself, where you start to get that clarity, where your mind starts to move. And when you know what those things are, when you find yourself in that state of maybe edging into overwhelm, giving yourself space to pause and go back to whatever those connection practices are.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And I love that you call it connecting with yourself, right? Because that's what people have to do. They really, truly have to connect with themselves to be able to understand. Again, the boundaries are there to teach people how to be with you and to teach yourself how to be with yourself, right? I was thinking about, this idea of blocking out time on the calendar. When I was working with students and even CEOs of top companies who have ADHD, they might block time out, but they've got 5 or 6 things on the list for that block. And one thing takes them the whole time. They're like, what? Why didn't I get anything done? And so having that realistic, was the word I believe you used, realistic view of what can you actually do in that time frame. Maybe it was Jayme. Sorry, I might get my conversations crossed, but how do we get that realistic view? So just a lot of things for all of us to explore. Thank you, Crystal. All right, I'm going to bring in Rachel. And Rachel, come right in, share with us.
Wow, this is invigorating, Misha. Thank you. Jayme and Crystal, what a panel. You have picked some quality humans here to share. One of the things the things that come up for me is modeling by example, right? When managers are also taking their lunches, they're also using their vacations, they're also ending meetings on time, they're avoiding glorifying overwork or hustle culture, right? So that model by example then turns into communicating. So I'm a cognitive behavioral psych major from back in the day, right? So one of the things you want to try to do is be transparent about your boundaries. Hey, I'm off at 6, so I can't reach, but I'll respond in the morning. Very clear on your expectations. Or our team doesn't need to answer messages unless they're urgent. You're setting an expectation, right? That clear boundary. And I'd like to encourage result-oriented cultures where things are really shifting focus from hours worked, since there's a lot more salary-based employees, to kind of measuring when performance metrics are valuable, innovation, and they're helping bottom line or goal-focused strategic plan initiatives. So once that happens, you create that results-oriented culture. And that gives folks an opportunity to do that.
Those were really great examples, Rachel. Thank you for that. I think it's really critical, the modeling that takes place, right? And that comes from what I heard both Jayme and Crystal say, connecting with yourself, being true to who you are, but also it's really important to get realistic about what does that look like, and can you model that? And if you can't model that, then what has to shift, right? Crystal had something she wanted to add. So come on in, Crystal.
Yeah, I want to offer this anecdote. I know it's not possible for everybody, but if you have the capacity, just kind of building on what Rachel's talking about, even just small ways of modeling. I have in my email signature a note that says that I value boundaries and self-care, and that I sometimes work flexibly outside of regular office hours. And if someone receives an email from me during a time they're taking space from work, honor that and don't feel compelled to respond until they're ready to work again. Now, I know that's not accessible for everybody, but if you are in a position where you can do something like that for yourself, just as a small acknowledgement, nudge to your team that we don't have to be available 24/7.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because I've sent a couple emails this weekend to people, and I said, it is my Sunday, and I believe it's yours too. If you're opening this, I hope you'll close it and reach out and read it again on Monday. And then I go with the rest of my email. It's up to you, of course, but I hope for your own well-being and those of your staff that you will not work today and close your email. So yeah, thank you for that reminder. Absolutely. And I want to just go back to Rachel real quick, because Rachel, I think you are actually in the corporate world right now, correct? You are in a role that is, we come in from the outside, whereas you are on the inside right now. I'm very curious to hear from you what you think with regards to this belonging from within. What is something that has really made a difference for you with regards to someone having healthy boundaries in your workplace?
I would have to say 3 things. Normalizing mental health and balancing that conversation and what that looks like. A good example is I make sure to unplug on the weekends, to your point, so I can bring my best energy on during the week, right? Or protecting team boundaries and realizing, hey, pushing back on unnecessary meetings, setting realistic deadlines or expectations, praise efficiency, not necessarily focus and time, invested. Intervene when burnout patterns appear. Those are some of the things as a leader you kind of want to focus on, but lead with a presence, not proximity, right?
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful. All right, Jayme, you had to go first. Is there anything that's come up for you that you would like to share before we go over to question number 2?
No,
You've got to, I guess.
I'll just double down on my appreciation around modeling and all that Rachel shared around that. That if both leadership is modeling for the everybody, but also that we also have a responsibility to model for them what we need. So there's a reciprocity in that too.
Yeah, thank you. And so what I would really like to encourage anyone watching and listening is that it starts before you get to the workplace, right? Start connecting, like Crystal said, to yourself at home. Find out what really brings joy and peace and rest to you. so that you can identify who you are and what you need. And that way, and you can model it if you have a family or a partner or friends, siblings, you can model that behavior and start to practice it. Although those typically are the people that are the hardest to help you move to new boundaries. But so that when you get to work, you have a better idea of the way you want to be treated. You know, one of the things that came up for me in a conversation the other day with someone, I used to be a smoker. I know it's hard to believe, but I used to be a smoker. It wasn't for a long time, but when I had a job and I would go out for my smoke break, and then I quit smoking. And so I'm going to ask everybody to mute because I need to, there's a lot of background noise. Okay, thank you. So I had quit smoking and I went out and people knew I'd quit smoking and I went out for my 10-minute break, my 10-minute smoke break. And someone said, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" I said, "I'm taking my break." Oh, yeah, right. And I was like, "Don't we all get breaks even if we don't smoke?" This is a workplace boundary, right? It was almost as if, but I need you to do this. And they almost said it, but they didn't, because like my smoke break. Oh, yeah, okay. So just a reminder, it kind of goes back to what all three of you said, but know what you need, figure out how you're going to get it, and then ask for it or model it in a way that's appropriate, right? So let's go to question number 2. And let's see, Rachel, okay, so Crystal's going to get to go first this time. So this is the question. In what ways do clear boundaries actually strengthen team belonging rather than create distance? And let me get us organized. I think I have to pull in Crystal. Whoops, let's see, Crystal. All right, come on in, Crystal.
My answer to this is kind of building upon and reiterating some of the stuff we've already talked about, because it comes back to modeling healthy boundaries for ourselves. In doing that, it creates an invitation for other people to do the same. And we are cultivating these safer environments for people to be able to ask for and state what they need, and do it without fear of punishment or retribution of any kind, and really just be whole humans. I don't remember who it was that said, even the pieces around mental health, I think it was Rachel, even being able to have those conversations. There are so many people, especially right now, that are navigating burnout and, life stuff, work stuff. So being able to say, hey, if there's flexibility, can I work from home today? I'll still be able to get the work done, but it would be really helpful if I could just be in my own space for reasons X, Y, Z. And letting people know what's going on. You don't have to overshare anything that you're not comfortable with, but just being really honest about where you're at, what's going on, and asking for support where you can get it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'm looking at the time, so I'm going to pause my commentary and just bring different people in. So I believe my next person is Rachel. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate your feedback. All right, come on in, Rachel.
Thank you. I think they promote respect for diversity. So a parent who logs off at 4:30 isn't less committed, right? So, and also a neurodivergent employee who avoids impromptu calls isn't less collaborative. When boundaries are respected, everyone feels valued for who they are and not for how much they can stretch themselves, right? I'm a person who was trained by boomers. So I understand that the drive to be on all the time, right? But this is a way for me to say, oh, I can do this differently. And my diversity respects the diversity of others by being able to see that that's healthy. So that's probably one of the things that I would say really helps, but they also foster trust through consistency, right? If you're transparent enough with what it is you need, and your managers are doing the same things and your leadership is doing it, it gives you that open door to share and say, wow, they did that. I can do it. It gives you the opening to reciprocate how you work and function best and that boundary.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I'll save my comments for afterwards. I'll bring Jayme in. Let's get Jayme coming in here. Thank you for that, Rachel.
Yeah, I love all the answers. I'm not sure I have a whole lot more to add, except that, what's coming up for me is values, right? I mean, ostensibly, wherever we work, that we have aligned values with everybody, right? The mission statement of where we work, that we align with that. And there are many, we all have values, but do we get to bring our values, and are they honored, right? And is there communication around that? And are we walking the walk and talking the talk? We don't just say, hey, these are our boundaries, this is how teams play, this is how we do the work, but really that we have alignment there. And what comes out of that, what the benefits are, is autonomy. Like, I get to own what I do because I know what I'm supposed to do, but I also get to own it for myself. And then I also have creativity. I get to create it, and I get to innovate, and I get to imagine how my day plays out as a result of that. And there's just so much freedom. And that's actually one of my values, is freedom and joy and love. I mean, if I get to come from that place and I get to bring that to my workspace, then boundaries are easy, and that they're honored easily. Because, and again, the last thing I guess that's kind of on my mind is that I keep on hearing is that it's all an inside job. If I'm showing up knowing that I've done my work as myself to bring my best self to work, and if I'm not right on, that I get to say so, and I get to honor that too. But it's all an inside job. And I think we all have a responsibility of how we get to show up.
Thank you. Thank you all. So I know that I kind of added a lot to the first question. I'm not going to add a lot right now because I know we're kind of on time, and I want to make sure we stay on time. So what I'd love to do now is have you all kind of, as our outro, so to speak, tell everybody, first of all, if you have a golden nugget that you just took from somebody else. So take a moment and think about, what's your golden nugget from someone else here? And if you don't remember who it was, that's okay too. We just say one of these beautiful panelists. And then love for you to tell people, again, your name, your business name, what you do, and how you help people, and then how they can reach you. And I know I have the QR codes, but it would be really helpful for people to know a little bit more about how you can help them. And who hasn't gone first yet? Everybody's gone first? All right, so then we'll start for the top of the alphabet this time. How about Crystal? Come on in.
Thanks, Misha. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but I loved what Jayme said in the beginning about boundaries and the ways in which they are honored for self. Really boundaries creating belonging. I really appreciated that. And then just again, for everybody tuning in, my name is Crystal Whiteaker, and my company is Crystal Lily Creative. And the best way to reach me is through my website, which is crystallily.co.
Fabulous. And what would you say, Crystal, is the one painful experience they're having that why they would come to see you? What do they want to resolve?
They are really wanting to build more confidence and clarity in how they're showing up, creating that alignment between what they're putting out into the world and how they're actually embodying it.
Yes. And I think they would be in I don't even think I know they would be in very good hands. So thank you. Thank you for showing up to this and the last panel, and just very happy to be in community with you. Thank you. All right, we'll come to Rachel. Come on in, Rachel.
Thank you, Misha. I think the nugget I'm going to take away from this and put in my pouch is definitely what Crystal had shared about kind of examining what those intrinsic calls are, mainly because when you align them, you are far more inclined to help others align them in leadership, but also being able to start seeing where someone hasn't. I'm Rachel Michelle. I am the founder of Inquire HR now. I work for Hub International as a broker, and I'm also writing a book currently, so I'm excited about that. But please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very honored to be a part of this. Thank you, Misha.
Thank you, Rachel. Wonderful. How exciting you're writing a book. Woo. Can't wait to hear more. All right, Jayme, come on in.
Great. Thank you, Misha, for doing this, and Crystal and Rachel for being a part of this. This has been really, really excellent. My nugget was, Crystal, when you said, when we're connected to ourselves. I mean, that really just kind of stands out to me as so important. And that's the kind of work I do. I'm Jayme Roderick. I am a coach. You can find me at jaymeroderickcoaching.com. And the kind of people that I serve are the ones that have the shoulda, woulda, couldas, or they haven't stepped into their greatness and their aliveness, and they know, or they actually maybe don't even know that they have aliveness and greatness waiting for them, and they want it so bad that they want something and they're stuck and they're ready to make that leap. So that's the kind of dare I love, is someone sitting with me and wanting to dare themselves into their own greatness and aliveness. And you can find me at Coach Jayme on Instagram, and you can find me here on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been delightful. Those of you who might just be joining us on the tail end of our panel discussion, we've been talking about belonging from within, the role of healthy boundaries in thriving workplaces. Please join us on November 10th. The topic is leading with emotional intelligence, elevating workplace culture and collaboration. And my panelists will be Megan Fucirelli, Jayme Roderick again, and Maria Ross. And I'm looking forward to having that conversation. I will put it down on the bottom so people can watch it scroll along as I speak as well. To wrap us up, I'm Misha Safran, and I'm the founder of the Center for Empathy and Emotional Intelligence. And I support organizations, organizations to transform conflict into connection through the pillars of empathy, emotional intelligence, joy, and play. And so I am delighted to be the moderator and founder of the LinkedIn Live series, The Resilient and Joyful Leader. And I will invite my panelists for today to say goodbye to our audience. And thank you so much for being here. When I press the end stream, please stay on for just a moment so I can thank you personally. And goodbye, audience. Goodbye.
Thank you.